were in this little black pickup and with all of our worldly goods and didn't know where to stay. And there was no, so somebody, I think one of the board members, Doug had been here once to visit with Mr. Engelman and Jim Gibson was his principal superintendent.
Okay.
And that's how he got the job. So we drove down Broadway Street and Howard Whelan was sitting. Do you know where Howard Whelan and it's the red brick house on Broadway across from. It used to be Wade's Market. It's a big red brick house with the white columns.
Yeah,
603 or something.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
The Blue Hen Flea Market is there now.
Across
it was
yes,
Roosters.
Yes.
Yeah, right. I know right where you are.
That's the big house.
Yeah.
And he was up in the window painting Howard Whelan, and it was for rent. The upstairs of the house. So that's where we moved.
You didn't know where you were going to live?
No,
when you moved
no.
In? You just packed your truck up?
No, you just, yes, we thought, there was no internet.
Yeah, there was no Facebook.
No.
Yeah.
And we knew, and so we did not, I did not know, so Doug knew the people that hired him. Yeah. Yeah, in our little black pickup.
That's a leap of faith.
It was.
And
I was pregnant. Because Brett arrived in October, so I was 7 months pregnant.
Wow. Yeah. Hey everybody, Matt Griswold back with Neighborhood Real Estate, and we're continuing the series of Why Do You Choose to Call Bolivar Home? And with me is Ann Potts. And Ann, I just want you, it's always awkward for me to say introduce yourself after I just did, but tell us a little bit about yourself. What's maybe just a high level, what would you say about yourself, Miss Ann Potts?
I lived in McDonald County, the farthest county in the state, I went to school with 28 other people in my graduating class.
There was 28 people in your graduating class?
Right. I went to Pittsburgh State, and that's where I met Doug.
Okay.
And from there, I taught at Neo Show 2 years. I taught at Lamar.
Oh, okay.
Doug was still in college. I had Lane Nutt. That's the second grader.
Oh, you had Lane Nutt? He was in your second grade class?
In Lamar.
In Lamar. Wow, what a connection.
I was Miss Mitchell and went home at Christmas and got married and came back as Mrs. Potts. So when Lane sees me, he'll say, "Hello, Miss Mitchell." Okay, I hadn't even thought about that. So
wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you were a second grade teacher there.
Yes.
But a lot of people know you for maybe a couple of reasons, right? For the wife of Doug Potts and the kindergarten teacher for decades. And I know you and I just spoke. My mom taught with you for a long time, and thank you. And I'm sure that I still have people saying, "Oh, my child had your mom in second grade." Yes. I'm sure you hear those stories too, right? Yes. That's got to feel good.
And then I get Coach Potts stories too. So we're so blessed.
Yeah.
We were very blessed.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So you talked about McDonald County, Lamar, Pitt State. Mm-hmm. What brought you to Bolivar, and when did you move here, I guess?
We moved here in July of 1966.
Okay.
And we came from the O Show. Doug had coached 1 year. That was his alma mater, and he had coached with us as an assistant there. So this was his first coaching.
So Bolivar was his first head coaching job.
Right. Yeah. And when you were talking to me, I thought we drove here on highway, which is called Bloody 13.
Yeah.
And Highway 13 came through the square of Bolivar. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Of course, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. And this is why these conversations are good,
right?
I
know. It's like, that's the way Bolivar was. Yeah. There was no Walmart out there. There was no, anyway.
Yeah. So, no McDonald's. I remember when that came. That was a big deal.
No, they all talked about the Penguin.
I've heard
here. I did not know that.
I didn't know it either.
So we were in this little black pickup, and with all of our worldly goods, and didn't know where to stay, and there was no. So somebody, I think one of the board members, Doug had been here once to visit with Mr. Engelman and Jim Gibson was his principal superintendent.
Okay.
And that's how he got the job. So. We drove down Broadway Street, and Howard Whelan was sitting. Do you know where Howard Whelan and it's the red brick house on Broadway across from It used to be Wade's Market. It's a big red brick house with
It's
the white columns.
yeah,
603 or something.
yeah,
like
it's
that.
the Blue Hen Flea Market is there now.
Across
It was
yes,
Roosters.
Yes.
Yeah, right. I know right where you
Yeah,
are.
that's the big house.
Yeah.
And he was up in the window painting Howard Freeland, and it was for rent, the upstairs of the house. So that's where we moved.
You didn't know where you were going to live
No,
when you moved
no.
in? You just packed your truck up?
No, you just. I guess we thought, well, there was no internet.
Yeah, there was no Facebook.
No.
Yeah.
And we knew, and so we did not. I did not know. So Doug knew the people that hired him. Yeah, and our little black pickup.
That's a leap of faith.
It was. And I was pregnant because Brett arrived in October, so I was 7 months pregnant.
Wow.
And so the house, it was for rent for $50 a month. Yeah.
$50 a month.
And it was upstairs, but it didn't bother me. I mean, I don't know. And so he and Blanche had this little girl named Linda. She was 8 years old. And so football season started. Well, the second person I met here was Dr. Kuhn, because I needed a doctor.
Ben Kuhn.
Dr. Ben Kuhn.
Yeah, Dolly's.
Well.
Oh. Go ahead.
So the doctor in Joplin, where I was going, said, I'm going to Bolivar. And I said, somebody in Springfield. And he said, no, Ben Kuhn will take care of you.
Wow.
This is 1966.
Gotcha.
And and the second person I met was Howard and Blanche and Linda at the Whelans. And Linda is now Linda Bunch.
I was going to say that because I knew that she lived there or had a connection.
That was her mom and dad.
Okay.
So Linda babysat Brett Potts. You know.
Well, Linda's on the list. I want to interview her too. She's
Linda. But so I would take my laundry down and Blanche and do at their house, and go across to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And Doug had walked a half a block to school.
Yeah, perfect. Everything's right there.
It was perfect. And so the Whelans were the first ones that we met, and Linda. And Linda would go way back with Linda many different ways.
Yeah.
So
that's wonderful.
Yes,
she's great.
It is.
So how long did you live in that place?
So just about a year and a half, and then we moved over to Division Street, 823 East Division, and that's where we always lived.
Okay.
So my whole life was, my church was Methodist Church.
Yeah.
My home was there, and my school. My whole life was on Division Street.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? The play.
Yes.
I love words, so
Yes.
all the connections came on Division Street.
Yes.
Isn't that? It's a fun little.
There's a kindergarten story there somewhere.
There's a kindergarten
Right.
somewhere.
Right.
So when did you start teaching then? So Doug started coaching. When did you start teaching?
Well, I stayed at home with Brett and Jennifer, and didn't start teaching until Jennifer was in first grade.
Okay.
So 71 or 72.
Right around there.
Yeah. And so the teachers, Elta Stanley had started her own early childhood, just had started coming into being as far as something really important. The state started paying for kindergarten finally.
Mm-hmm.
And so I taught with Ann Potter, Lou Kemp, Nancy Gallatin, Sunny.
I don't know that one.
Sunny,
a lot of them were there for several years.
Oh yeah. We were all there.
Yeah.
And Virginia Sawfisher came.
I was going to say Virginia Sawfisher.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about Mary Little?
She was the kindergarten. We were just kind of isolated
Yeah,
down
you
there.
were your own
Yeah.
club.
Even the principals didn't bother us too much. So
that's great.
Yeah. So but we only saw them at teachers' meetings, really.
Yeah.
And that was a time when the pod was in, so there were no walls. This was really innovative at that. They just had built on the end of Leonard School.
And at that time, again, it was called Leonard Elementary, not Bolivar Primary. It was Leonard Elementary School.
Yes, the man that started.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was,
My mom still, she kept everything, but there's still jackets or bags or things that say Leonard Elementary School.
Yes,
and I love that.
Yes.
I love that. That's
right.
great.
Yeah.
What
So,
I am curious though, because you were doing second grade, and then you went to kindergarten. Did you want to go to kindergarten, or
oh
was
yeah,
that the
I
opening,
think.
or
Oh yeah, I love kindergarten.
what is it about kindergarten that you love?
Yes.
That age?
Children are so inventive and so curious,
Yeah.
and so yeah, yeah.
So it's just the
Kindergarten-
age, fun age.
But if you didn't like kindergarten, you'd not be good there. You know, don't.
That's right. That's right.
It was very physical too. You didn't sit down and say, read 5 pages in the book. You know,
Yeah.
you were always busy in kindergarten.
Yeah. I wonder how that's changed over the years, because I think it has.
It's,
But
yes. Well, I'm so proud. Jennifer, my daughter, became an early childhood
oh, okay.
teacher, and she even retired. She always was an early childhood teacher too. So
Okay.
yeah, she loved it that much.
Where did she teach?
Jennifer taught in Stockton.
Oh.
And she was married to Jack Randolph.
Okay.
And they met on this. He was a football player here
Yeah.
at SVU.
Yeah.
And they had their first baby there at Lindsay, and she taught at Marshfield.
Okay.
They spent many years in Marshfield.
So in the
And
area.
Jack was a football coach at
Okay.
Marshfield,
Gotcha.
and then they went to West Plains, and she taught there.
Okay.
By that time, it was special needs kindergarten that she taught children.
Wow.
So, yes. And now she has a job. She retired, and she's working for a company that she visits kindergarten
Oh,
for advice. And
perfect.
Yes.
Kind of consulting for
We're really
kindergarten.
proud of her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. And your
I
son?
hadn't thought about that. So Brett played ball here, and he played at at Pitt State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he thought he was going to get the coaching job at Blue Valley Northwest,
Mm-hmm.
and they gave it to another coach. And so he filled out a form that year for Kansas Teacher of the Year, and he became Kansas Teacher of the Year
Wow.
in Kansas to the Blue Valley system.
Yeah.
Blue Valley Northwest,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
And so, so he became a principal in the Blue Valley system,
Okay.
and retired, and is in Missouri, driving across Missouri to North Kansas City, and is an administrator.
Yeah.
In the North Kansas City schools.
Okay.
So.
I mean, your kids are handy. They're
Oh,
close.
2.5 hours either
Yeah.
way. West
Yeah.
Plains,
Yeah.
Kansas City.
Yeah, all within the state there.
Yeah.
So that's good. And I know you said I had to make sure where my
Yes,
liberators
I got my liberators.
shirt there
Yeah.
too. So what is it about Bolivar that you chose to stay here? You and Doug both had long careers within the school. What was it about Bolivar?
Well, one time we were Doug went to North Missouri to look at a school. And we said, what do you think about living here, Brett? And he said, oh, where's their park? And they didn't have a park.
Oh, wow.
So we came home.
I've done a few of these videos, and Dunnigan Park has been.
I call it the crown jewel of Bolivar.
I agree.
I am. It just is so special.
Yeah. And of course, where you live now, you're right off the park, and you can walk.
I can walk. Yeah.
There's a trail. Did they make that trail just for you, or was that already there?
Yeah. Jim Daybalt, I told him, well, he finally realized that had always been a designated for the city.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he talked the city.
There was already kind of
Put
an
that in.
easement there.
An easement, yeah.
Yeah.
So he
That's
put
great.
that in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's handy, and I agree with you. It's beautiful, and
Right.
I actually just drove through there
Yes.
right
The
before I came over
Swans.
here. The Swans of college kids over there right now, and they have
Hammocks.
they have easels and
They're
paints.
painting.
They're all
they're
over there,
doing-
and they're
yeah.
posted around the pond,
funny. Yeah.
and they're all painting
Yeah,
different scenes.
great.
And I thought,
Yeah.
wow, what a cool
Uh-huh.
experience that
Yeah.
would be there.
They
too.
started taking hammocks over there.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, they put posts there so you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
take the hammocks over
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah.
But
Right. So
you have the dog. Was that a lab?
that's
there?
no.
What-
He's from the Humane Society.
Okay.
That's Sam.
Sam is pretty.
Yeah, they used to call me Sam Son, so I call him Sam. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did Doug call you Sam?
Who knows? Well, Sam, how did we get here? Or Sam, I'd be reading a map, and he'd say, "Well, Sam." So I hadn't thought about
But you
that.
kept responding to it,
Yes,
so you
yes,
kept doing
yes,
it. So now the
yes.
dog's name is Sam.
Yes.
Does Sam
Mhm.
like to walk the park also,
Yes.
or
Yeah, I have on a leash.
Yeah, on a leash. Yeah, we're following the rules. The dog is on a leash. Yeah.
And the cemetery, we walk the cemetery. We
Yeah.
walk, and that's another thing in Bolivar. There's just lots of places like that.
Walkability.
Yes.
And it's pretty.
Yeah.
And it's quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quiet.
You just talked about your family, and of course there's this, and I'll call it a famous picture that hung in Stevens, and it's right over there. We'll get a picture of it.
Okay.
There, but this picture that hung over the sofa in Stevens' photography studio, and of course Mark was the first one that I did one of these videos with, and it's actually just kind of there's a kind of a legacy video that I did with Mark, and I did it right before he retired and moved out of the studio, and so he gave me a tour of the studio, and he actually references that picture as a great talking piece. But so that picture was your 50th anniversary, right? So maybe tell me the story of how that picture came about.
Well, and he would say, people would walk in and say, "Oh, well, I know Jack Randolph," and then Brett, and then Doug, and So he said, when he left, he said, "Well, I can't burn it, so you brought it over to me." That's how we got it.
It's huge, and so we're looking for a place. Yeah.
And that's, like you say, those are special people.
Yeah. Mark had a successful business there for 50 years. It was taking pictures,
but we go way back to his mom and dad.
Oh yeah.
We would have breakfast with them every Saturday morning. At
That's interesting.
And Brenda's.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Dean Liston.
Yeah.
And Dean told Brenda she should stay open on Saturdays.
Okay. So
every Saturday we were there at the Dean Liston table.
Well, yeah, you're the one that got her to open it on Saturday.
Yeah.
Well,
and we still do.
So, and I am curious. I'm going to take a step back. So, when you came here in the '60s, you mentioned the grocery store.
Yes.
And 13 came through the square.
Yes, right.
What else was Bolivar like? What do you remember about Bolivar?
Well, the library was on the square.
Oh yeah, where the Genealogical Society is now.
And so a lady named Lindsay Godfrey decided we needed story hour. So I remember letting Jennifer out. She was 4, and she said, "I don't want to go up those stairs." I said, "You get up the stairs. You go upstairs because Lindsay's going to be there too." Yeah. So that's another person I wanted to mention is Lindsay Godfrey.
Okay.
What all she has done for this town.
What has she done? I don't know Lindsay. Tell me who she is.
She came with Bud Godfrey.
Okay.
Who was the first president of Teeters.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
And they came from a big city in Texas.
Yeah.
And here she was in Bolivar, and she was in shock. She said she cried all over. I shouldn't tell her. You should need to. And she said her children she had 2 girls, and they went to every Bible school in town because you needed to learn people's names and stuff.
Wow.
Oh yeah, Lindsay is.
Good
and
stories.
she came to the Methodist Church, and she was a certified Methodist teacher, Sunday school teacher. So she gathered us all up and started teaching us to be good Sunday school teachers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you teach Sunday school also?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, and Bible school, and that's what you do.
Sounds like my mom. My mom taught VBS, and she taught, and she was. I mean, she was there with the Karen Pennicuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Nancy Johnson.
Yes. There you go.
And Nancy's still over there doing it. Karen kind of stepped back away from that, but she's still involved there too. But all these wonderful people there.
Right.
That's interesting. So what else about Bolivar there?
Well, see the library and the things that have changed so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stores around the square.
Yes, the square. Right. Wonderful men's shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Alice's. I don't have a list of them.
I talked to Bill and Sandy Jones.
Well, yes,
they had
on the corner. Hackers.
There. And I think the men's shop was that Braithwaite's.
Braithwaite's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there used to be a cafe on the other side of the square, they say. And the history of it, I just think it's interesting.
Yeah, coffee places.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Down to never mind. I can't think anyways.
It's okay. That's okay. We'll edit those out.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Okay. So.
And there was no Walmart.
Yeah.
No.
Not even the little Walmart before the Supercenter, right?
Yeah. Right. So when I moved here, my friend told me she had moved to a small town the year before, and she said, if somebody says, "Can you do something? Do you want to come?" You say yes. You don't, because that's the only way you're going to meet. And I did not know anybody here.
Yeah.
So Marquita Kaler invited me to come play bridge, and I didn't. And bridge was a big thing back then. So I knew how to count up. And I said, "Oh, well, I don't know very much." And they said, "Oh, come anyway." So I could name you people that I met there the first time.
Wow.
Right.
And that, how long did you do that?
Well, just till I had bread.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It was just kind of the first thing.
Yeah.
I was taught
just your way to meet people.
Had to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had bread, and Janet Burks came to visit me one day, and so that's Robert Burks' mother.
Okay.
So Robert was born in October.
Okay.
And then Janet Bryant.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the same time.
Okay. Were they part of the bridge group, or
no,
they just
no,
were visiting?
No,
you were just meeting
people.
them?
And so that's the other thing. SBU became a 4-year college
during that time.
And that was the big change. That's how we met John G. Bryant, the Cochrans, the Kemps.
Okay. John and Judy still. They'd probably be a good one to interview too. But we live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I see John and Judy walking.
Yes.
Every day.
And he still's involved with tennis. He told me that the other day. He does beginning tennis. We're so good.
Wow. Yeah, he's
and
he's
they
in
were
the Hall
very
of Fame
musical too.
Okay, I didn't know.
Right. He had guitar. We had hootenannies.
You had hootenannies?
With guitars and singing Michael Rowe, the Boat Ashore, all those things. Yeah.
That's fun.
I hadn't thought about that.
I want to go to a hootenanny.
Yes, a hootenanny. I hadn't thought about that. Oh my goodness.
Where was that at?
So, well, I think they were Baptists and we were Methodists. I don't know what.
Met in a field somewhere.
Well, and Doug Roller came and they sang, always, and Ben Kuhn and those three, and David Hacker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's musical.
They would all sing. They were all musical.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He and Doug sang for years, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's see. And then for the library, we needed a new library. And by that time, I was teaching.
Yeah.
And I was thinking how the community, I don't know who started the idea for the new library, but,
Yeah.
And we came to the teachers and asked for donations, and we set up a system. I think the Paces were very instrumental in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Elizabeth
Pace.
The fundraising for the library.
Were you,
really
I assume, you were very into the children's books and things like that. Like my mom would collect those.
She collected.
Yeah. She
Yes.
donated a bunch to the library
Yes.
with those books. And
she did.
Kept a lot of them for the grandkids.
Yeah,
Was
she
that,
wanted first editions.
Yeah.
Didn't she? I think that's
what
she
that's
wanted.
right. Yeah. And she would go to, book conferences in different states and just love the books and the literature. Did you share the same kind of affinity?
Kindergarten teachers we always had an early years conference at Tantera.
Okay.
Yeah, all over the state. And
yeah.
Did that.
So you retired in 2000.
Yeah.
So you had a long, great career. What did you maybe see? What led you to the retirement? Was it just time, or were you? Yeah, was it one kid that kind of pushed you over the edge? You're like, that's it.
Ann Potter and I said, we had this discussion.
Okay.
That was changing so much from letting children discover things to all their ABCs they need to know. That was much more structured.
Yeah. And
we just didn't want to do that anymore.
I get that.
And now I think they have to know 60 words or something.
Yeah.
And that's not how you teach. Anyway,
yeah.
we can't go into that. But Ann Potter and I decided it was time to
go. My wife and I, really, she homeschools our three youngest and has for 3 years now.
Oh, really?
And we're all about the experiences.
Yeah, right. Get outside.
Yeah, very cool. Very good. So you just knew it was kind of time, and you and Doug both retired at about the same time.
But after our children left, there's a lot of years in between there.
Yeah.
So I went to yoga this morning.
Yeah.
And I started yoga after Jennifer went to college.
You do that here at the rec center?
At the rec center, yeah. and our teacher is Maria Kallenbach.
Oh, okay.
And
she's great.
That's a story in itself.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And she's teaching you to breathe in. And
yeah. Did you have Maria in school?
No, I never did have her in kindergarten.
No, never did. Okay.
Yeah, there were five sections of kindergarten.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So.
More than your 28 that you graduated with.
Yeah. Right.
There.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right.
So you got into yoga.
So yeah, we went and found this free class at SMS, and so we would. I think Elizabeth Pace and I'm not sure who else, maybe Magdalene. You know.
Yeah.
So we started going to yoga, and so we had so many people going to yoga down there that the yoga teacher came here, and we had yoga upstairs at the bank on the square, because Joe Strader was part of that.
At Polk County Bank?
Polk County Bank.
Really?
Upstairs, we had
That's
yoga.
where the neighborhood real estate office is.
Oh,
on the second floor at Polk County Bank.
We had yoga.
You had yoga up there.
She would come, Loa would come.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do yoga up there.
Yeah. Many years.
Yeah. It's still kind of a workout because there's not an elevator there and I have to walk up the stairs.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. So it's not yoga, but it's I'm putting work in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how, and I just think everybody had to take yoga.
Yeah. It's great for the flexibility.
Right.
And
yeah.
I agree.
And I'm a great moderator there. I don't do everything that they do. So,
yeah.
And that's another story, the why, or how that's got started. The rec center.
Yeah.
I keep on it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people still refer to it though.
The community got together to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I remember we grew up in the neighborhood right next to that, and that used to be the airport.
Yes, the airport.
And I had friends that lived, I would go into the golf course, or friends, and you would just kind of watch for planes.
Yes.
And then you'd run across the runway before the rec center was ever there, or the Y was ever there. So there's been a lot of change over there.
Yeah, somebody said that Mr. Walmart would come fly
Sam
in
Walton.
and jump over the fence because Walmart was right there where
the bowling alley was, right in there, the bin barn.
Yeah. So
and you just reminded me of something. I don't know if you remember it, but in the days of my childhood, that parking lot where Walmart was, I remember going to like a fair or a carnival there in the parking lot and riding rides. Do you remember anything like that, or did I dream about that?
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Small town.
Yeah.
Bolivar's grown so much.
Yeah. The SBU was a big change in Bolivar, I think.
I agree.
I wanted to mention that.
I think most people, a lot of people that I've interviewed, give a lot of credit to SBU for bringing people in. They might come here to go to college, and then they fall in love with the community, and then they stay. And I've also heard a lot of people, of course, talk about the park, but also CMH.
Okay.
And the healthcare.
Yes. Charlie Pence was our minister at that time, and our kids, and he preached about everybody in the community should be part of this hospital.
Wow.
And that we need a hospital here, And so our kids thought that it was Charlie's hospital, and that everybody should be a part of it,
Yeah.
And I think we donated $35 a month for 3 years or something.
Yeah.
We're school teachers.
Right. Yeah.
But we wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah, you were a part of that.
It was. Yeah. I remember the Crown Bakery. Taking my kids and going to that.
Well, that expansion they're building.
I know. Huge. It's just wonderful.
Right. And across the street, of course, I got to talk to Kerry Douglas, and he and Cinda's name is on the cancer center over there. And it's amazing. It's amazing the place over there.
Well, the parking lot is full every day.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people come into Bolivar every day.
I would say quite a few.
Yeah.
And all the specialists they have and things. And it's great. I know that they were overused, and so the expansion is going to to be a wonderful addition there too, and probably definitely bring more people into the community.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And you're selling houses to those people.
I'm ready to. I'm ready to. Whenever
you're
ready. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. No, I think we will experience quite a bit more growth, and I'd say, from all levels. I mean, that's going to bring cafeteria workers to surgeons. I mean, it's going to bring all different types of workers, and it's going to be amazing and great for the community.
It is.
Let me ask you this, and I know that you hear a lot of Coach Potts stories, but I had a thought. I had a question. there's so many Coach Pot stories. I shared one of my Coach Pot stories,
Yes.
and I know you hear them all, and you
Yes.
probably enjoy hearing those. But my question is this: like, he's so fondly thought of.
Yes.
What were his thoughts of all these players that have all these stories and the lives that he impacted so much?
Yeah.
What would he say about those kids and the young men that they became?
Yeah.
And did you guys ever have any conversations like that, or maybe like the impact that they had on his life as well?
Every one of them had an impact on his life, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was interviewed his last game, and I just found these tapes last year on tapes like this.
Yeah.
Matt Hindenburg interviewed him. I should show you that.
Yeah.
Let you have that, because he mentioned every one of those kids. You know, what was the best team? He said they were all the best team. You know?
Oh man, good coach answer.
And his losing team was 0-10, and the quarterback that year was Chris Woods, who weighed 132 pounds. And, you know, and I told, this is my story too. And I said, you know, you're in trouble when you can only read the football players half their number, because, and there are all these little, Chris Woods and Tom Douglas,
yeah.
I think it was, and they were all teeny tiny little guys out there, but they were always going. And the next Sunday, the mom would say, "He says he's going to win next week," you know.
Yeah.
And so at the athletic director, I remember I have his speech. I found this that he honored those kids.
Yeah.
Because they were there every week. They came every week. They practiced.
Yeah.
They went out there, and so that was one of his most outstanding teams.
What a great story, because you would I would immediately go to the state the state runs there too, but I love you know there's a lot of character, there's a lot of integrity that goes into, man, I'm continuing to show up, I'm continuing to work, we're not seeing the fruit of that, but that's a wonderful coach mentality too.
It is.
I see the effort.
That was his mentality.
That was the mentality. If you can show up and prepare and play hard.
So when we already needed a coach and nobody was around, all of a sudden Robert Buffington knocked on our door, you know.
Yeah.
And another time he needed a coach, and John Wheeler came and coached. You
Yeah.
know, for free.
Yeah.
And so his first quarterback was Jerry Schellenhammer.
Oh, okay.
That we always get Father's Day cards and.
Oh wow! You would continue to do that.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah. Well, it is.
And I can mention many, many more.
Oh yeah. And everybody that I know or hear tell stories of, they speak very affectionately about their time.
Yes.
With Coach Bots, and just anytime I get to coach a lot. I coach a lot of youth basketball, and I love it. I love coaching kids, but anytime you can hear and see maybe the fruit of these kids growing up, and then they're impacting in more ways than just on the field or on the court, or it's Coach Potts was teaching much more than just football.
Well, and Jennifer, I said, I don't dream about it. Jennifer says, don't you think every time somebody tells you something, Coach Potts is around? The other girl said that she was the secretary when she was in high school, and how he was in the office, how he treated her in the office. I mean, she just told me that the other day. You know, it was so much more
than
football. You know, he was much more than football.
That's right.